Hey Dan, how are we?
Really good, Paul. How are you, mate?
Yeah, doing well. How is everybody going out there in Facebook land?
Let's hear from everyone who's joining us today.
Uh,
Welcome.
let's take, let's take a look if anyone's on board. It's taking a while for this bad boy to connect, but we are all live now. Look, Dan, we've got a really interesting chat coming up today, and I thought it would be great. Oop, we are all sorry, I did the same thing as I did last time, and we were talking over our recorded versions of ourselves. So we're here, we're ready to rock. Let's get down to business. There's been a lot of us that have been confronted with a lot of scheduling issues when it comes to this time of the year, and it's a very real issue. I mean, Christmas parties are coming up left, right, and center. Um, for us in Melbourne, we've just been released from our cages for the last 8 to 9 months, and people are just frothing at the bit to get out, to be social, to have a couple of drinks, and just to be out and about, really. And I think the theme of today's talk is really about acknowledging that life is a beautiful thing and being social is a great thing as well, and understanding how we can actually plan out our weeks so we can continue to win them with the knowledge that we have a social life, or family situations pop up, whatever it might be. No week is going to be the exact same as the week before. So it's about understanding what your schedule is in advance and planning how you can identify the lowest hanging fruit so you can apply it to your week for a successful health week. And also understanding that certain aspects of your life will come up. For example, my week is going to be filled with dinners out, so I know that I'm not going to have as much control over my dinner consumption as I would historically, especially not when I was in lockdown, for example. So it's about minimizing the quote unquote damage of that point as well.
Mm. Yeah, and before I kind of lay into it a little bit, I'd love to know just from your experience about like what the lowest hanging fruit is when it comes to just dialing in your health life during a really busy period.
Yeah, good question. Hello, Nick. Hello, Cesar, and hello, Oren. How are we, boys? Jason, very good to see us all. Great, great. We've got a good crew here for the live. So, guys, before I answer this question, if you guys have any questions in regards to the topic discussed today, please go ahead. Sammy, lovely to see your smiling face. Good to see all of you guys. We've got a good crew of people up here. So that is a wonderful thing. Now, Dan, just back to the question that you asked me
Mm.
about identifying lowest hanging fruits. I was speaking to somebody earlier this week. You know who you are. And we were talking about essentially what is going to give you what is the environment that you're set with that is going to give you the greatest win for this week. And the person I was speaking to knew that he did not have any outings out. He didn't have any Christmas dinners. He had Christmas dinners the week before, and that was where he had less control over his ability to knuckle down when it came to minimizing alcohol consumption, and knuckle down when it came to cooking his own food. But he also had the opportunity to exercise more. So that was his lowest hanging fruit. He was like, right, I'm going to double down on my exercise,
Mm.
but my food is going to be not that he's going to splurge every night, but he's going to have less control because someone else is cooking for him. So this week, the control factor, the lowest hanging fruit, is his ability to cook his own food on a daily, regular basis. Batch them, cook. I've actually advised him to take he's cooking schnitzels for his kids. And I said, great, you can cook the schnitzels for the kids. take the, you don't need to crumb your own chicken. So you can pop your chicken into the oven with your kids' schnitzels. You can batch that chicken out over a number of days, and boom, you've got yourself chicken with vegetables. You've got yourself chicken with salad, whatever it might be. But the control is there at the beginning of the week, because he's foreseen what his challenges are and his freedoms are in that week ahead. So to answer your question, I know I'm going to be eating out. Seriously, I'm eating out for social occasions, I think Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And that's like a lot of food to eat out. And I know that despite, regardless of how much effort I'm going to put into being responsible, I know there's going to be a couple of drinks jumped in there. I know that there's going to be, I'm not going to have control over the quality of oil that I'm using. I'm not going to have control over this, that, and the other. If everyone's kind of eating in together as well, with some form of, communal food consumption, I may relax a little bit. But where can I kind of tighten the straps a little bit in other aspects of my life? Well, maybe I can do another training session before I go out to eat. Maybe I can be incredibly diligent and really, really focused on my nutrition outside of my time eating out socially there. And these are the things that we need to be cognizant of, or else we will throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we'll think, okay, I had a write-off that night, so it might as well eat into the morning after. It might as well eat into that next day. And then all of a sudden, 10 days later, and this happens all the time over December and Christmas and New Year, you wake up after an alcohol-fueled haze of 8 weeks, and you're like, how the hell did I get to February, and why am I 8 kilograms heavier?
It was great to hear a bit of a snapshot about the journey ahead for you over the next few days, and you'll have to let us know how you go. But I think it's a really important conversation, because balance is so essential just in life. And, we don't want to swing towards one extreme or the other. We just want to find the balance. And I think perfectly exemplified last night, receiving that post on the Facebook group from Nick, who was at the cricket. Thanks, Nick. I hope that you enjoyed your night. But just the idea of having a beer and enjoying, and then the next drink is a choice of water. So it's still enjoying, it's still participating, but it's still being conscious of what we're putting into our system. And so I think the same applies when going out for dinner. Of course, what's the first thing that's on the table when you sit down is a basket of delicious bread and a nice cake piece of butter. And it's like, ooh, it's tantalizing for the taste buds. And it's like, okay, you want to participate that. I want to participate in that. But if you're going to do it every night, then what is actually going on, and what choices are we making? So it's good to be kind of conscious of going into a situation like that. Are you having just one piece of bread, or are you going to have one piece of bread one night and not the next night? I mean, what solutions do you see so you can find balance, but also almost lean a little bit more towards a healthy lifestyle? Because that's what we're all essentially investing in here. And like Paul said, it's so easy after one blowout to build that kind of blowout muscle and just continue blowing out. And it's like, that's the opportunity to see, what kind of changes that we're making, what's our commitment, and just doubling down on that every single morning. So it's like, upon waking up, what is your commitment today to training, to living a healthy lifestyle, to what you're putting in your mouth, to how you're showing up as a parent, as a partner, as a family man, and as a professional. I mean, we don't want to go too outrageous in our thoughts, but just what is the intention? What is the vision? And just see how that fuels us in our just day-to-day activities and the choices then we make based on that intention and vision. It's such a strong practice. And when it's a daily practice, it's like building that clarity muscle. It's building that habit, like positive habit muscle. And it's just like the bicep curl. It's just like the bench press. You do it enough times, and the result is some muscles, some definition. And it's the same with building a good habit. The definition is that you are taking the best care of yourself and you're showing up in the way that you really want to show up. So, balance is key, planning's really key, and intention and vision, especially in the morning, really sets you up to win the day and win the week.
And just like the concept of training a muscle, the concept of progressive overload is being able to increase the level of difficulty every time you step into the gym in some capacity, being able to increase, your challenge. And I often transpose that progressive overload concept to all aspects of my life. If you're able to create a really solid habit when it comes to being able to, let me provide an example. I'm living with my parents-in-law right now. We're doing a small renovation at our house, and for the last 3 nights, my parents-in-law had made spaghetti bolognese for the family, which is, I would imagine everyone would agree, is delicious. Now, for me, it would have been really easy to just kind of say, okay, I'm all in. But it was just as easy to be able to say, I can't wait to sit down and have a meal with you. I'm going to have the bolognese, but I'm just going to steam some veggies and use them as a bed to put the bolognese on instead of my spaghetti. And then boom, I've got a really balanced meal and I've got like an abundance of vegetables. And not only did I feel incredibly satisfied, like nutritionally, but I felt so satisfied to do that time and time again, because I knew that the easy way to go was, and the short-term satisfaction way to go was to have that spaghetti bolognese. But what I did was I exercised that mental discipline muscle 3 days in a row and say, no, I'm actually just going to have my vegetables, and it's just going to be as easeful in a family environment as possible. And I think what we'll find is in all aspects of our life, this progressive overload will take place when we continue to start on like a less intimidating level and then increase the bar just one bit at a time, 1 week at a time. And all of a sudden you'll find yourself doing things that you didn't think you were ever capable of.
Yeah, that's perfect. And it also just highlights the importance of getting creative, being really in control of what we're putting into our system. So I make my lunch most days, and I keep it really simple, but I change it up from time to time. I do the batching, which is really important in terms of like structuring the day when it comes to, or structuring the week when it comes to training. There is such great vision of what I want to achieve, and all of us are going through the program, like structuring the day when it comes. And
sorry about that, mate. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and so just the importance of that planning and execution, and just like having your gear ready in the morning, having your bags packed, having your lunch prepped, and then of course, that's the things that we're doing pre-leaving the house. And then when we've left home, it's like we could take the easy option, go to 7-Eleven. I know we're talking to a lot of, well, I guess it's worldwide, but we're talking with people in our in our country right now, live and direct. But it's like, what healthy choices can you make when you're on the road? We're speaking with a lot of people who are commuting long distances, working from site job to site job. And it's like, well, maybe if fruit's the only thing available, that's the healthy choice, then that's what we do. Packaged food, sausages, meat pies. I mean, they're all really attractive for that, as Paul said, short-term satisfaction, but what's the long-term goal and long-term vision? And again, framing decisions in that way, just the choice becomes so effortless and instinctive to be really aligned with living a healthy lifestyle. So this is a great time of the year to really test ourselves. And we as a tribe here are really like dedicated and devoted to supporting each one of you to make those healthy choices. And when you feel like you've fallen off the wagon, it's like you never really have fallen off the wagon, because you can always jump back on you can always make decisions. Nothing is ever fixed and locked in or permanent. You know, things are always moving around, and decisions can be made based on what's needed for each day and for each meal. And so I just think there's the joy and the excitement of knowing that, rather than feeling like, you know, bad day means bad week means bad month, and then so on and so forth. So while we've got some time, I know we've got some people live with us. Does anyone have any questions or any things to share, or anything you'd like to hear more from us? Paulie, anyone online?
Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of people online. I'd just like you guys to think about the next few weeks coming up in your life, you know, social occasions, Christmas events, family holidays, whatever it might be. Have a think about what perceived barriers may come into place, and how can we look at these either A, as a barrier to your health, or B, as opening a door to freedom for your health.
Let's take a moment. Paul, maybe you can hum us a tune.
I'll give these guys a moment, and I will have a think. I'm going to actually articulate a time ahead for me where I could see this as, you know, a really, you know, limiting time for my health. I'm going away with my family to Echuca Moama, and I believe, is it Jason? I believe Jason lives up around the Murray. Is that right, Dan?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jason, shout out to the Murray boys. I'm, you know, we're going to be up around those parts, and it would be so easy to just kind of say we're on holiday. You know, there's no need to really have discipline when it comes to exercise and training. But my perspective is I'm going to bring my gymnastics rings out there. There are trees everywhere. I can tie my gymnastics rings to trees. I don't even need gymnastics rings. You really, you really only need your body and you know, the ground or a couch for resistance training. Me and my wife are bringing up a whole bunch of pre-prepared meals or ingredients so we can take it into the kitchenette. In fact, we don't even have a stove in the place that we're staying. So we're actually bringing an electric stove so we can actually make meals there. We know we've got a barbecue there, which is awesome, but it's just being able to forward think a little bit so you can have control over your own destiny and your own health, because I'm sure we've all been there. You can do a lot of damage in 8 days, like a lot of damage, especially over the Christmas period. So just have a think about, once again, this could be seen as a barrier to health, or it could be like a real opportunity to strengthen that discipline muscle when it comes to overcoming perceived barriers.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some some people up here having some comments. I'm just going to try and take a look. Good to be here. Oren, good to be here, annoying you guys every 5 minutes, and we would have it no other way. I love you. I love you very much. Jace, yes, Murray boy, I love you. And Oren has said, no matter how many times I ask, chocolate isn't an option. You know,
sometimes you just got to ask the question to just keep reaffirming. So I like it, Oren. Keep it up.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Absolutely. We're breaking habits that are deeply ingrained, especially nutritionally, especially when it comes to comfort eating. You know, we have our go-tos and we're trying to break that cycle. So it's only ever one moment at a time, one day at a time. If you think too extreme, it can feel daunting, but just chucking it down to like the next meal, and, you know, you make a change there, or you shift the focus, or you make another choice, you know, you've broken the back of that habit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've done it. Look, it's the old adage, you know, quitting smoking is easy. I've done it thousands of times. You know, it really, and I really have had chocolate. I'm a chocolate lover. Like you're speaking my language, Oren. But the reality is I've done it to a point where your body doesn't feel like it anymore, and then obviously it might come into your life for a little dance again, and then and then sub out again. But you do have the power to be able to detox, and that's all it is. It's detoxing your body off of an element. Let's call it chocolate, but it's also a mind detox. Not to expect to have it there, and it's a powerful and empowering thing to be able to have that. To be able to see it even in your pantry, and that's the next step, to be able to see it in your pantry, because yeah, just to be able to say, I know you're there and you know that I see you, but we're going to keep company and just keep a little bit of distance.
You stay in your corner, I'll stay in mine.
Exactly right. Says, beer versus gin versus whiskey, question mark.
I like it, Sess. What's your experience? I'm not a drinker. And I'm not saying Paul's a drinker either, but maybe Paul's had a bit more experience recently. Anything to say? Clean and clear is always a good choice, right?
Yeah, clean and clear is definitely, look, my experience is clean and clear is definitely like from an individual alcoholic drink perspective, it's going to be better for you biologically. The challenge with gin might be that it goes down a little bit easier than a beer, and it goes down a little bit faster. So you've got to be really, really cognizant and disciplined to be able to input that that water after every drink. And I would just continue to do that, and obviously just cap yourself off after a couple, 2 or 3, maybe obviously dilute it significantly so you can hold on to those drinks for a reasonable period of time, and just say, I'm driving, I'm here for a couple of hours, so I get to have 3 gin and tonics, or I get to have 3 gin and sodas with fresh lime, which is quite refreshing on a summer's day.
Way back in the day, in the early noughties, I was in a band and we were called the Gin Talking, and the lead singer happened to find that whenever he was drinking gin, his talking got a little bit loopy and out of control. So that's just something else to keep your eye on and your mind on.
Well, I've been privy to many of the lead singer's diatribes about life and love and lust and anything in between. So
he was an Australian poet talking about poets. Jim Morrison's birthday yesterday, Wednesday, the 8th of December.
Yeah.
And our very own Gin Talking lead singer.
He's Jim Morrison.
Australian poet.
He's Jim Morrison. And Bob Dylan just sold his entire record music writing rights to Universal.
Did he?
Yeah, wow. Just yesterday. So it hasn't been officially published, but some people are saying it's about 425 mil.
Wow.
Let's see what else we've got here. Nick, biggest challenge will always be portion control. Christmas Day will be the hardest. We'll have to distract myself big time this year.
I would say if you can get a small shaped bowl or plate and make that yours for the day and for the evening, use that as the guide to how much you're going to eat and choose how many of them you're going to eat. That's always a really powerful solution. Paul, any thoughts?
On dinner plate topics, so just an interesting side note. Did you know that the average Australian or American, I think, let's just call it Western, dinner plate has increased in size by 1/3, the actual size of the plate. And we naturally fill up our dinner plates when we go for meals, especially for a Christmas meal. So I think that's an excellent idea. Why don't you dig through your antiques, Nick, and see if you can find yourself a genuine 1970s dinner plate, and use that at dinner, and just give yourself, and it gives you the opportunity, obviously visually, then you'll be able to kind of fill it up and not be too hasty with the portions. But it'll also give you the opportunity to kind of be more discerning as well. You'll see all these options there and you'll be like, I can actually have everything here. I can just have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the key point, a little bit.
So action item for you, Nick, is to go to an op shop today and find yourself an old antique dinner plate.
Love it. And then send a photo of what you choose.
Now Nick's going, just one bowl? Come on, mate. Or a trough bowl, he's saying. Well.
It's open to interpretation.
Yeah, it is. It is open to interpretation. But, you know what? I'm not even going to put a limit on the amount of plates or bowls that you have. But I will say, if you can't find your way to an op shop, maybe have half a plate at a time. And after you've had that plate, wait for 10 minutes, enjoy the festive times. And then if you're still hungry, go back, but give yourself that moment to just pause, reflect, and actually check in with yourself and see if you are emotionally eating or you're riding that momentum of the Christmas wave because your cousin's annoying you next to you or whatever it might be. But like, just give yourself a moment to reflect. You know, there's a saying in the island of Japan, Okinawa, and they say this after every meal they say something in Japanese that I don't know, but it translates directly to 80% full. And it's attributed a big part to why they are a blue zone in this world. Blue zone being a high incidence of centurions when it comes to health. So, you know, we are not meant to eat until we are stuffed like Christmas turkeys, pardon the pun. We're meant to eat until we're satisfied. And it's about checking in with yourself and discerning whether you're satisfied or you've eaten till you hate yourself.
Yeah, another thing just to go with that Japanese tradition, and we can kind of wrap it up here, but my wife's grandmother, many generations Australian, you know, she just grew up and it was like leaving a small little bit of food on the plate shows a sense of respect for the chef and also for yourself to know that you've just enjoyed it perfectly, but you didn't complete the meal. You just left a little bit as an acknowledgement that I'm completely satiated and I'm acknowledging the chef to say on a job well done.
Love that. That's a beautiful thing. One last thing I want to just mention, because Maddie Brennan's chimed in as well. And he chimed in as a really credible technique, and that is obviously leaning on restricted eating windows during Christmas dinner would be a wonderful strategy to overcome certain, overeating aspects. You know, I mean, not that you may, not that will restrict your overeating capacity, but what it will do is it will minimize the damage in the other part of your day. What I would recommend then is to have like perhaps an extra hour of intermittent fasting or restricted eating or fasting. And then I would have something small before you went to your Christmas dinner, so you weren't absolutely frothing at the mouth to get stuck into whatever it is you're getting stuck into, because you'll just be like, your eyes will be the size of saucers and you won't know what to do with yourself. So have something small after you increase that window of fasting, preferably something with protein, so it kind of satiates you a little bit and you won't be eating with your emotions. You'll just be enjoying and if you're anything like me, I sometimes get a little bit carried away with my emotions when it gets to like something like an all-you-can-eat extravaganza. So that's just my little 2 cents.
And also, if you know, well, if someone close to you is participating in this event where you are, just tell them to give you a little elbow when they see that, you know, you're just overindulging slightly, because that's like teaming. And obviously we're in your pocket, but if you can't get there in time, just make sure someone next to you gives you a little bit of a poke.
And I love that. And that's just accountability, you know. We will have you accountable. Like, in fact, we will all be accountable to each other right here on Hero Tribe, to be able to do that on Christmas Day. But to have somebody next to you to be able to give you that little nudge, wow, nothing more powerful than that.
Love it.
Great,
Thanks,
guys.
Paulie.
Thank you, Dan. I hope this was, helpful to you guys. It certainly was helpful to me. And I'll let you know how I go with my 4 consecutive nights of eating out.
Yeah, please take some photos for all of us.
Yes, I will. I'm going to, what's that place called on Chapel Street on Saturday night? The fancy Malaysian Hawker Hall.
Okay, haven't been there before. Let us know how it goes.
Yeah, it's delicious. All right, guys, take care.
Thanks for joining. See you next time.
We'll see you all very soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.